Start that now. Perdón, those of you who are joining later, you will see the video later. I did forget to start the recording, but all you missed was the first 3 minutes and you'll get the link for the video. Feo. El video se trata de la palabra feo. The video is about the word feo. Feo, although it does mean ugly, yes, translated, in real life, it's used to talk about not just ugly, but to say a situation is all messed up. A situation is bad. Wow, you're in a real tight spot. Que feo. How bad. Oh, your car doesn't start. Ay, que feo. You're stuck in a traffic jam. Ay, que feo. Because it's nasty and unpleasant for you. So, que feo. Bien? You lost your wallet with your ID and all your credit cards. Ay, que feo. Bad tight spot, bad situation. We use feo in all those situations, or just to say that you don't like the way something looks. But in English, we probably wouldn't use the word ugly. Let's say you go to the park and, you know, they didn't do the reseeding of the grass. So it's all brown and, you know, kind of looking gross and everything looks brown. And, uy, que feo. Que feo, which really doesn't mean, you know, ugly, but wow, this place has gone to seed. It's in bad shape. Entienden, ¿sí? Or, yeah, muy importante, using this, especially with little kids, or with, let's say, I don't have a Karen in the group, but the Karens of the world. Yeah. Ay, no seas feo. Don't be so impolite. Don't be so rude. Don't be so nasty. No seas feo. No seas fea. We use feo for all of those things. Unpleasantness of people, unpleasant behavior that they're doing because they're just being rude, a bad situation that you're stuck in, or something just doesn't look good, or something smells bad. Yeah, we use feo in Spanish to indicate all of those things.
Marilyn, what was that verb? Was it hacer? Hacer, no hacer?
Well, it is oler. I'm going to put it in the chat box down here. Oler.
No, when you said don't be ugly. Don't be ugly. Was it?
Oh, no seas. Bien, sí. No, that verb. No seas is a command. It means don't be. Don't be. Okay.
That's a new word for me.
No seas. No seas. No seas feo. Don't be difficult. You know, don't be a difficult behaving person. See?
Okay, thanks.
I also heard that you say no seas fea, you said?
Sí.
So you can say feo and fea.
Oh, sí. No seas fea, no seas, sí. You're talking to a little girl who is throwing a temper tantrum. She has thrown herself on the ground and she's, you know, beating on the floor and everybody is in the stores looking at the kid who's throwing a temper tantrum. You can say to this little girl, no seas fea, don't be ugly. But what you're saying is stop misbehaving.
Okay, so that's also based on the gender in this case, using
Right.
feo and fea.
Right,
Okay.
right. But if we use it with smell, it just usually stays feo.
Okay.
Because we're using it with smell. And then it's really kind of working more like an adverb, saying how something smells. And then it just stays feo in that one form. So the example they gave was huele, and I'll type it out in the chat box for you again. La cocina huele feo. La cocina huele feo. The kitchen smells ugly, but what it really means is the kitchen stinks because you cooked something that burned, because you cooked something that was old smelly fish, or, you know, whatever. Huele feo. And there, the feo is really talking about huele, the verb, not about cocina specifically. So that's why it says feo. Bien?
Would you put that up again?
It's in chat box. Can you see chat box?
No,
Oh, you cannot see chat box.
I can.
Okay.
Yeah,
I see it.
Let's put it up this way. We'll put it up in a different way.
Doug, if you scroll to the bottom of your Zoom screen, you should get a little bar with like mute and everything, and there's a chat icon there.
I'll put it up here, Doug, so that it's a little bit easier for you to see.
Or if you're on an iPad and you go to more, click on that, you'll see chat under that.
If you do this as a command with a little kid, no seas feo, no seas fea, and it'll change depending if the kid is a boy or a girl. It really is saying, it's not saying anything about physical appearance. It's saying don't behave badly. Okay. And you know, ugly behavior is bad behavior. Bad behavior is ugly. So they like using feo for that. Or la cocina huele feo. The kitchen stinks because it smells bad. Yeah. So feo is used a lot more to talk about a negative situation, but it doesn't really translate always into that idea of ugly, the way we use the word ugly. It's used. It does mean a negative thing, but it's used in a different way than we would use ugly in English. Mejor, better? Sí, Doug? ¿Entiendes? Sí, mejor. Ok. A ver, bueno. A ver, ahora. Adelante. Moving on. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of a guessing game. And I'm going to I'm going to describe, in this case, I'm going to describe a person, although you, when you go into breakout groups, are going to describe a thing. Actually, I might do an example of both. And if you want to interrupt me with a question to move it along, you can do that too. La primera cosa, the first thing, la primera cosa no es una cosa, es una persona, es una persona. Bien, a ver, bueno, voy a describir, I'm going to describe, voy a describir una persona. Es una persona, claro, famosa. Bien, la persona famosa es bastante joven, no es muy joven, pero bastante joven. Es un hombre, no es mujer. La persona vive en Estados Unidos. La persona no es originalmente de Estados Unidos, pero vive en Estados Unidos. Es una persona muy rica. Es un hombre muy rico. Muy rico. Tiene mucho dinero. Bien, tiene mucho dinero. Ok. Tiene una compañía importante, una compañía, tiene quizás dos compañías muy importantes. Bien, Arlene, sí.
Jeff Bezos.
No, tristemente, no. Hiciste bien, you did well, pero no es Jeff Bezos.
It's Tesla.
Voy a darles más pistas. I'm going to give you some more clues. A veces este hombre a veces es feo en Twitter a veces, pero tiene una compañía, la compañía más importante.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. Yeah.
Bien,
Elon Musk,
sí.
Tesla. Elon Musk. Tesla.
Elon Musk, sí, es Elon Musk, es el hombre del año, el hombre del año, el hombre del año, la persona del año es Elon Musk. I was going to give you something a little more telling about cars in a minute. Okay, vale, magnífico. Okay, otra cosa, another thing, otro juego. So another thing before we go off into breakout rooms and you describe your thing. So you'll need to have your thing ready. Bien, okay, es una cosa. It's a thing.
Can I just ask a question about?
Sí, sí, Susana, sí.
Were you saying he lived in the United States, but he wasn't born here? What were you saying? He something.
Sí,
No.
sí, no es de Estados Unidos originalmente. Nació en Sudáfrica, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
Sí,
Yeah.
alguien sabe, sí, nació en Sudáfrica. Ok, bien. Ahora voy a describir una cosa. Now I'm going to describe a thing because you will not have people generally unless you have a picture of a grandkid or something. Bueno, es una cosa que se usa mucho. Las personas mayores, older, you're going to get that word later today. Las personas mayores siempre tengan esta cosa en la persona, ¿sí? Los jóvenes de 18 años, los jóvenes de 22 años, no siempre tienen esta cosa. Pero esta cosa tiene muchas formas. Se puede poner en la pared,
Gafas.
se puede poner en el teléfono, en la computadora, en el brazo, y es para saber la hora del día. Se usa, it's used, se usa para saber la hora del día.
Mm.
Yes.
Un reloj.
Un reloj. Claro, sí, es un reloj. Sí, un reloj. Se pone en el brazo, se usa en el teléfono, se usa en la computadora. Los jóvenes de 22 años no se ponen relojes. Ever notice that? The youngsters do not use watches. You can give it as a gift. They won't put it on. Así es. Así es. Okay.
Apple Watch, they'll do Apple Watch.
Apple Watch. Oh, sí. Hay versiones de relojes inteligentes. Relojes inteligentes sí se usan los jóvenes. Gracias, Hillary. Tienes razón. You are correct. Tienes razón, ¿sí? Y el color no importa, ¿sí? Para describir, el color no importa. The color may not matter. The color for your item may matter. It may matter. Okay, bien. ¿Entienden? Understand? ¿Sí? I want you to describe something. Save the juicy descriptions for last, but try to do it in about 5 clues. Because otherwise it might become disheartening and tedious. Yeah, and then that becomes difficult. Vamos a ver cuántas personas tenemos aquí. Okay, we're going to have to, so this may take me just a few minutes. If you got any additional questions, kind of ponder that now. I'm going to try to get people into rooms. And I'm not sure because I've got CJ and Tomas listed under the same name. So, well, it won't matter that.
Do you need one of us to change that?
Yeah, well, not today. It won't matter a whole lot for today.
Okay.
I'm just eyeballing here and getting my people in. Ooh, some of our groups may be a little bit smaller, but that's okay. Bien. Ay, a ver. Okay, I'm going to move one person over. Ooh. Ooh. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? I have a couple people who disappeared. We'll try to find everybody in the group. No, no, not así. Ooh. Okay. I'm sorry, this is still a little imperfect with getting everybody in, but that's good there. Okay. Cuatro. Nora y Trish y Pam no está. Dorothy, sí. Bien, okay. Casi. I'm almost set up for you guys. We're almost there. Okay. Ooh. A ver, momentito. Okay. I'm sorry, this is taking me a while. Ay. I'm trying to get. The last few people in, perdón. Okay, I may have one room kind of imperfectly set up here. I need to, I've got a few people I want to add into a room, but, ooh, perdón. I may have to get you guys in a room in a minute. Perdón, excuse me. I've got a couple of you who won't see your join button yet. The rest of you head on off, and the rest of you, I'm going to try to get you into the correct room. Okay. Oh, now I see the way to do it. Hang on, those of you who are not joining yet, don't panic. And okay, everybody should see a room, I think. Creo. Hit your join button. Bien. Yeah, I'm just joining a few groups just to see if you need any help. See? Bien?
So to clarify, we're describing an object and then trying to
Describing
guess.
you're trying to have your people guess. See?
Okay. Then I think we got it.
Oh, you got both
All right,
already?
so
No.
No,
I mean,
we're gonna
we-
go.
We understand the
Oh,
instructions.
entienden. Bien. Okay.
all right, I tried to write down some of these sentences over the weekend here to describe my object. El teléfono lo tiene.
Ah,
Com- I guess la computadora lo tiene.
lo tiene. Okay.
Tiene, sorry.
Lo tiene,
Tiene.
¿no? Bien.
Sorry, I took French in high school, so
No,
like
that's why you're dropping
a
those
lot of this
letters.
is confusing because of that.
Sí, sí, sí.
Es pequeño,
Es pequeño.
se
Okay.
usa para ver gente durante la pandemia. Pandemia.
Ah, pandemia. Sí.
Pandemia.
Se usa para ver.
Any
a las
guesses,
personas.
Tomas?
So the last one was, you've been using it since the pandemic or more
Mhm.
since the pandemic, correct?
Look at that. Good
Y
Spanish
el teléfono
translation.
lo tiene, sí.
Right.
The
so
computadora,
the
the
computer
telephone.
and the telephone, Zoom.
Close.
Casi, almost.
También toma fotos.
Oh, a camera.
Yay,
Yeah,
la cámara.
Exacto, muy bien. You've got the idea. Sí,
right, that was a tough one.
exacto.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see
All right,
if I
I
can
don't know what
get
I'm
into
gonna
it,
have
join
for
a
you.
different group here. I'm gonna
Um,
leave the group because you're doing great. Okay.
Okay,
okay.
thank you.
To do with it.
It's in the kitchen. I keep, it's at the first my first question was, where is it? Where is it? It's in the kitchen.
¿Dónde está?
You keep your car keys in the kitchen?
Yes.
Okay. That threw us for a loop.
And that was the first clue. Yeah. Okay. That's it.
Okay. I'm just here to see if you've got any questions and how it's going, how it's rolling along. See? Bien?
We did two so far.
Okay. Vale. Magnífico.
Okay, third person. CJ or Pat.
Sigue. Keep going. Yeah. See. CJ.
I feel like I'm in the wrong room, Marilyn.
Ah, no. Está bien. You're good.
Es in la oficina,
Okay, it's in the office.
sí. Es muy pequeño.
It's very little.
No.
Es trying to give my third clue without giving it away. How do you say hold together, Marilyn, or combined,
Paperclip.
or
It's a paperclip.
sí, gracias, yes, sí.
How do you say paperclip?
Paperclip is, oh, I had that. You know what? And I think I changed it because my paperclip was. I think I should have changed it to paper. Sujeta papeles?
Sujeta papeles. Sí.
Sujeta papeles.
Sujeta, they put together, it's a portmanteau. They put together two words. Sujeta,
Sujeta
sujeta
Clip.
papeles.
papeles.
Paperclip.
It joins, it attaches papers. Sujeta papeles. Bien.
So I looked up
Bien.
paperclip. When I looked up paperclip first, I was like, oh, that pronunciation. Maybe I should switch it to paper, but then paper.
Está bien. It's good. It's
Gracias.
all good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Capture.
Entiendes, you totally get that. I'm gonna leave this room because I can see that you're doing just great.
You're kind.
Hola, estoy aquí. Here, I'm here to see if you need any help. ¿Todo va bien?
Well, we're missing most of the words, but
Yeah.
it's okay.
Es un juego. It's a game. You're supposed to stump some people.
We got
Okay.
through, Marilyn, we got through 3, and the question I think came up is, what is a fireplace? That was the item that I had.
Wow.
Is it something to do with fuego? Or is it actually chimenea?
Ah, chimenea, chimenea.
Chimney.
Chimenea, which sounds like chimney, which is what I sure hope your fireplace has one. Sí,
Yeah.
chimenea. Pero no se dice fuego, fuego. Fuego. Fire,
Fire.
Yeah.
fuego.
What are you saying?
Fuego. Se pronuncia fuego. That's pronounced fuego, not fugo.
Oh,
I know it's an F-U-E for the word fuego, pero se pronuncia fuego, fuego.
fuego.
Ya. Ah, mejor. Bien. Fuego. Tiene fuego. Está en la casa. Es para calentar. Sí. Cuando tienes frío, sí.
Okay.
Bien. Ok. Vale. Who's next? Siguiente.
I am. La cosa es rojo y negro.
Red and black.
Se usa afuera.
Afuera.
Afuera, outdoors. Afuera.
Sí. Afuera. Afuera.
Afuera.
Afuera.
Outdoors. Es uso por todos.
Todos, everybody?
Everybody.
Is this metal?
Es de
Yeah,
metal.
es de metal o
Es
es
de
es
Es de metal.
de metal y I forgot fabric. I forgot the word.
Tela.
Tela, yeah.
Tela.
Tela. Tiene 4 patas.
4 patas. Es una silla?
Yeah, sí.
¿Es una silla
patio.
para patio? ¿Para el patio?
Patio, sí, yeah.
It's barbecue.
No,
Barbacoa. No es barbacoa, sí.
can you see?
No, casi, no podemos ver.
Can you see it?
Tristemente, no. Sí, ahora sí, un poquito. Bien. Ok, vale, hiciste bien, you did well, hiciste bien.
What was the answer to that?
A patio chair.
Oh, a chair.
Una silla para el patio, una silla para el patio.
Not de patio, par.
Para el patio.
Para el patio.
Sí, bien. Okay, I'm going to leave this room.
Una silla de patio.
Do you need a little more
Okay.
time for somebody? Does anybody else still have to do one? See?
No.
No? Listos? Okay, this is what I guess it was going to be. I'm going to leave this room and I'll be bringing everybody Ah, bien. Aquí vienen todos. Here comes everybody. Aquí vienen todos. And I had some people who didn't show up for class, so some of your groups were a little bit smaller than others. Okay. Bien. Aquí vienen más y más y más. Here comes some more folks and more folks and more. Ah, bien. Fantástico. Bien, bien.
Bien.
Okay, bien. Esperamos a quizás 5 o 6 más. I think we've got a few more still waiting. Aquí vienen todos. Magnífico.
Hola.
Hola, sí, I did manage to get into some of the groups and you guys were doing really, really well, even if you felt like it was, that's how it is. Sí, son pasos simples. These are really simple steps, but pero sí, son importantes. Do you want to do
I
some
liked it.
more of that next week?
Yes.
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 Okay, I think
Yes.
it's a good thing for you to do. It's a good thing. It's a good thing to learn circumlocution, talking about things, what things people what things we use items for. I'm going to do a little share screen to show you how maybe you can refine that next week, refine it a little bit, and so that you start to get more comfortable with it, because the more you do it, the more things you can add. Okay, so a phrase you may want to add next week is something like se usa para plus a verb. Okay.
Instead of low.
Oh, yeah, and you won't even need a lo. Se usa para, which means it's used for.
Oh.
And you're talking about it in a very impersonal way. Se usa para. Okay, so un ejemplo.
Oh, I guess I said low uso.
Well, you can't say lo uso. It I use. You can say that, but se usa is almost always what a native speaking person will use.
Okay.
They'll usually phrase it this way. Se usa para, it's used for. So, por ejemplo, if I were talking about el reloj, sí, se usa para saber la hora. You use it for knowing the time, for figuring out the time. Se usa para saber la hora, ¿sí? If you were talking about calendario, un calendario, if you were describing a calendar, you might use a phrase like se usa para se usa para recordar, ¿sí? La fecha or una cita, which would mean you use it for remembering a date or an appointment. Se usa para recordar, but notice what we do. Se usa para. Whenever we use an action after para, we keep it in an infinitive. So no conjugating, right? If I were describing, instead of reloj, instead of calendario, por ejemplo, if I were describing un camión, a truck, I might say, se usa para llevar cosas muy grandes. You use it for carrying, transporting big stuff. En un camión, ¿sí? If I were describing, por ejemplo, if I were describing
Can I just ask, what's the word cosa? mean?
Cosa, thing,
Things.
thing, very generic word, thing. See? If I were describing el buzón, a mailbox, el buzón, right? El buzón. I would say se usa para guardar el correo. You use it to keep your mail in, a mailbox. Okay, por ejemplo. But notice what happens. So this is going to be a great little exercise for you to refine next week. You use it for, para, and that next word is going to be an infinitive, not conjugated, an infinitive, not conjugated, an infinitive, not conjugated. And this chunk always stays the same. Se usa para, it's used for. Se usa para, it's used for. Se usa para, it's used for. I know the word it isn't anywhere really in there. Se usa para. And the only way it would turn into usan would be if it was a plural item, like keys, keys, more than one. Okay, so keys, I would have to use a plural. Se usan para abrir puertas. You use it to open doors. Okay, and then if I mean keys, more than one, it would be se usan. But usually it's most of the time, it's going to be se usa para, se usa para, se usa para. Se usa para is a great chunk. They are three words that hang together, and they typically hang together in descriptions that people give. Se usa para. Okay. Another thing you're going to want to make sure you do, especially the newer people, when you want to say it's in or it's at a place, we're not going to use es. No, 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 no. Not es. But rather than that, we will use está. It's in. Or it's at. Está en. Está en una casa. Está en una tienda. Está en la cocina. Está en el baño. Bien. Está en el patio. It's on the patio. Bien. So make sure you're using the location. Yeah, the location verb. So make sure you're using está. So those are two little pointers I'm going to give. Claro, bien claro, pretty good.
If you want to just say it's yellow, do you say es amarillo?
Exacto. Sí. Es amarillo. Now, why, right? The es versus está. Remember, es talks about the way the thing is. Es azul. Es azul. It's blue. See? Es negro. See? Es roja. La taza es roja. Es talks about characteristics, things that are not easily changed. It's just a part of what that thing is. It's not going to change anytime soon. But location, location, location always uses está. Está. Bien. Something that is a highly changeable description will use está. So highly changeable is things like temperature. Location just is what it is. Right. But, you know, when we're talking about the color something is, that can't be está because it's not easily changeable, right? Unless you've got some odd thing that does morph color. Okay, bien? Okay, bien, fantástico. Bueno, our next little breakout room is going to be, yeah, bien. It's going to be about pricing items. So we're going to take a look at that again. I'm going to send you to breakout rooms to do this, but you're going to have a set number of things to work with. So you're going to have these items, and I'm going to actually switch to the front page. Front page is ¿cuál es el precio típico? ¿Cuál es el precio típico? What's the typical price? Meaning, there's no, this is not some religious doctrine. What's a typical price? The usual price. ¿Cuál es el precio típico de cada producto? Okay. ¿Cuánto cuesta? How much does it cost? ¿Cuánto cuestan? If it's a group of things, how much do they cost? Sí, cada producto. Y, tienen 6 cosas. You may not need quite as much time, but you do need numbers. So we'll come back to this, and you'll be able to see these pictures in your breakout room. So don't feel like I've got to take notes. No. You'll see these pictures when you go into breakout rooms, not until you all get into the rooms, but I can project this in. So las pilas, batteries, los zapatos atléticos, sí, zapatos atléticos. El papel higiénico, toilet paper, el papel higiénico, hygienic paper, what a nice term. El carro, económico, a cheaper car, not a super expensive car, el carro económico. La computadora o el portátil. ¿Cuál es la diferencia? What's the difference? La computadora is any old computer, but el portátil would be more specifically a laptop because it's portable. Thus, el portátil. El abrigo, a coat, la chaqueta, a coat or a jacket, see? And you may want to think about a total. I kind of lied. I should have told you to bring your little receipt, but just kind of mentally think of a receipt. ¿Cuál es el total de tu comida en una semana típica? What's your total food bill in a typical week? So you're going to do that at the end, your last receipt. And that can be your food bill. It could be a credit card bill, lo que sea, whatever it might be. Do we need to review some numbers before we go out to do that?
Sí.
Sí, bien, okay.
The big ones, like for the car.
Sí, números, bien.
Thousands.
Vamos a, and we just need, we don't need to do like oddball gotcha kind of numbers. This is just general numbers, but we use numbers all the time. Let's get a nice, ¿dónde está? Where's my big general cheat sheet? I had a really great one. We may have to piece a few of these together. Así es. I do have a great number cheat sheet. Pero voy a engrandecer, but I am going to make it bigger. See, I'm going to make this bigger so we can look at it. We probably don't need to review a whole lot of the lower numbers, but, but do know that those 1 through 10s, those are the things that you recycle and reuse as you move up to the bigger numbers, right? So it's really essential to be able to know the 1s through 10s and not to just memorize them in order, but to be able to know them in whatever order they come in as they get jumbled up in real life. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? And then we get our singles where we have 11, 12. They've got 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And once we get between 16 and 19, it becomes like the math problem, right? 16 to 19 becomes a math problem. So 16, 10 and 6, 17, 18, 19, and then we get it to 20, right? 21, 22, 23, okay? What we want to move up to is our double digit things. Just a quick, un repaso muy breve, ¿sí? 30, 30 is It's got that tri idea in there, that 3 idea, but it's 30, 30, or some number. And this is where our numbers start to truly add the 3-word combos for higher numbers. 31, 32. And all of the 2-digit numbers are going to follow the same pattern that 30 follows. So we have 30, we've got 40, which looks a little like cuatro, sounds a little like cuatro, right? 50 sounds a little like 5, cinco, but 50. 60, which takes 6, but gets rid of the letter I from 6. See? 60, 70, gets rid of the I from the word siete, right? 80, which keeps most of ocho. 90, which just doesn't use that UE of nueve. 90 changes the 9 number into the UE into an O, 90. But notice with the double-digit numbers, just like we have 7T, 8T, 9T, their T equivalent is that enta. Enta is that equivalent of us using TY for 4T, 5T, 6T. That's what they use. And then our bigger numbers, ciento. Bien? Ciento, it goes to the shorty word cien if it's only 100 by itself. But anytime you add something onto the 100, it goes into that longer word of ciento. 101, 102, 110, 111, right? And then our hundreds numbers, 200, right? 300, 300s, literally. 400, 400s. Here's the one that nobody likes because it doesn't look like cinco. It looks like the quin of quince, 15. 500. 500 is the oddball in the hundreds group. 500, okay, vale? But then we go back to nice patterns. 600, 600s, right? 700, 700s. 800, 800s. 900, 900s, like 90 was 90, 900 is 900. And the thousands are actually quite easy because it's always going to be mil. Something combined with mil, right? 2000, 10,000, 20,000, 20,000. And mil never changes form. Like cientos to cientos. Mil always stays mil. Well, 99.9% of the time. Mil, when you're talking about an amount, mil will always stay the same. 10,000, 15,000, 15,000, 22,000, 22,000. So our numbers are always just combining these different, variations. Bien, does that help a little bit as a review before you go off? Because when you get to the car, you're going to need something with a meal. And wow, if you know something under meal, then tell me, because wow. Yeah, sí. Okay, Bill, sí, tienes pregunta.
When you're looking, my question is about when you add the Y in there, like 137.
Oh, sí. So where does the E come? Yeah.
Yes.
So it'll come 137, it'll come right before the 7, but nowhere else. 137, 137.
Okay.
155, 155. The E will come before that last number, the last digit in the set of 3, and only there. So it'll never be 150 never 150, 150, no. 155, y 5. ¿Ya? Bien, ¿sí? ¿No?
Yes.
¿Entiendes?
Okay.
Bien, right?
Gracias.
Only that very last hanging on the end, that little caboose, the little caboose on the train of numbers, the little caboose gets the E, the little one at the end. Okay, ¿está bien? Are we good with that? Bien, okay. Vamos a practicar. You're going to practice some numbers. I've got to put this into a size you'll be able to read in your breakout rooms. And we'll put you back into your breakout rooms to practice some numbers. And ¿cuál es el precio típico? ¿Cuál es el precio típico? What's the typical price? And you'll probably use cuesta, it costs, or cuestan, they cost. Cuesta, it costs, or cuestan, they cost. And we never use the word it or the word they. It's all wrapped up into that one word, cuesta. It costs. Cuestan, they cost, right? Cuestan gets an N at the end when you're talking about multiple things like batteries or shoes. But a singular thing will use cuesta. It costs. Bien. Oh, Cindy, ¿tienes pregunta?
In using cuesta or cuenta, can you say mi cuenta, like my bill?
Oh, mi cuenta, my bill. Sí. Mi cuenta es, my bill is, yeah, that's fine. Because your bill doesn't cost. Yeah, that's a little, yeah.
Mi cuenta de la tienda, semana, mail call.
Es, is, whatever. Sí. Buena pregunta.
Okay,
Sí, para el mes, for the month.
gracias.
Sí, o para la semana, for the week. Bien. Ok. Bien. Otra pregunta. Sí, Doug.
If you use receipt, it's recibo de.
Oh, recibo, a receipt. Sí.
Recibo de Trader Joe's, for instance.
Recibo de Trader Joe's. Perfecto. Sí. Mi
Okay.
recibo de Trader Joe's. My receipt from Trader Joe's. Sí. Bien. Vale. Otra pregunta. Any other question before we send you out into breakout rooms? ¿Sí o no? No? Okay. Magnifico. Here you go off. I don't think you're going to need maybe 10 minutes. Uy, depende. Quizás no, maybe not 10, a little bit less than that, 7, around 7. Okay. Oprimen, por favor, el botón de join. Hit your join button.
So we have a question. If something
sí.
costs $24.99, we would say it costs $24.99. We wouldn't say dollars, and we wouldn't say the word cents.
Ah, yeah, sí, sí, sí. 24,99, con 99, o 24.99. Kind of regionally, depending on where you are, they may use different structures. Either con before the 99 or e before the 99 usually works.
Right, but they don't say the word cents. And they don't
Pues,
say the word
they may
dollars.
drop it. Yeah, they may drop it as we do. As we don't bother to say 99 cents, it's 99. Yeah, they usually don't bother with it.
Okay.
Sí, bien.
Well, if it's under $1, you do say cents. We do.
Right, we do.
Right.
But somebody
But it's
doesn't
over
always
$1.
say $3.99. They may say $3.99.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in the store because you're looking at getting the information out quickly. First Cindy, then Dee, okay?
Oh, we have the same question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When we're giving the description of dólares, let's say $9.82. Do you need to say the E between the dólares and the centavos?
It's a good idea to have either E or con. Yeah, that was the same thing really that Susana was talking about. Either E or con, and depending on where you are, they may use either one.
Okay.
So, and I do hear people drop it as well and just say $3.99. It depends on how fast they're trying to do the transaction and you know how much time they've got. They'll shorten the things as much as they can. CD.
Yeah, so then when you're saying 21, can you just say 21?
21.
Okay.
21, nada más.
But you say 21, you say the E.
Well, I say it very fast, 21.
But it's
I don't say 21, 21.
as one word, but she's wanting to leave out the E.
Well, you have to have an E in there somewhere, but there's so many vowels in that word, 21, 21, 21, 21.
So you have the Y there.
Yeah. You very seldom will you hear people say 21, 21. It'll be 21. That's the way you're going to hear.
But you just slur it together.
You slur it together. We absolutely do. And it is. I mean, according to the Real Academia, the guys who make the rules formally, you can do it either way of 21, but in real life, nobody says it as three separate words. 21 is what that's what you're going to hear. 21. So you have to be listening for the 20 and then your next number, lower number, whatever it is. You have to be, 20, it's a 20, right? 21. We'll do maybe a little quick dictado next week too. A little quick dictado that I'll give you a little set of numbers. And just from me saying the number, you'll write down the number and see how many you get right. We'll do yeah, that won't take more than about 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Okay, that helps me.
Bien, bien. Yeah,
I think
it's always a good thing to
us.
A dictado, a dictation is always a quick thing for when you're hearing the word as somebody will normally say it. Do you know what digits go together in your head? That's what it's for. That's what the dictado is for. Not for you to spell all the words right and do all that hoo-ha. Bien. Okay, bien?
Bien.
Hay más preguntas. Sí, Cindy?
I'm looking on one of these cheat sheets that you got for quick studies when you were in college. And
sí.
In there, they show exactly what you're saying, 21, so you hardly hear it. But then when you get to 30, it says 30.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So that transition, and I'm going to show this on the screen so people see what transition that Cindy is talking about. So this is why we're going to do a dictado, why it will be a good idea to do a dictado. Let me make this
But
big
the
enough
E
for
in
you.
vente is part of that base word, right? So
Right, right.
we're not duplicating it when we add on the single digit, where treinta
Right.
is a different.
So what we're looking
ending.
at, folks, is what you're going to hear. And
Mhm.
yes, how you should say it. But you know what? You as a tourist, most of the time, and you're dealing with numbers, you're going to hear people telling you a date on the calendar. If you're, booking something, you're going to hear people giving a price of something. So what the number you're going to hear, you got to be able to connect what you're hearing with the digit. Somebody says a number and the digit should pop in your head. That's the way it works. So what Cindy is talking about is this transition between, and I'm sorry about that unknown word thing. That's a spell checker. Okay. That 27 is all run together. And that's the way you're going to hear it. Not 20, V-E-I-N-T-E, that, Y, the J, the Y, and siete. Yeah, okay, technically you could say there's 3 words, but nobody is going to do that. I guarantee you. So what you're going to hear is 27, 27. And it all slurs together. 27, 27. You're not going to hear 20. You're going to hear 20. 27, 27, 28, 29. But now we got a transition. The words from 30 up do split off into separate words. So you say to yourself, yay, now I'm going to hear everything perfectly. But you know what? You think you're going to hear it all split up. You really won't. It won't sound that split up. So yes, 31, 31, 31. Technically, if you were to spell it out, it would be 3 separate words. Who does that? Who writes that out on paper that way? Nobody. Okay. It's there for you to know how the word is spelled so that you can, because how you spell it is how you say it. So, okay, 31, 31. But in reality, folks, when people say that word 31, it's going to all still sound like it's running together. And those vowels are going to all still join together to the point where what you're really listening for, folks, when somebody says this word 31, you're listening for this combo to lead off. 30, 31, 31. That's how it's going to come out, not 31, 31. And it'll come out that fast. So look at all the vowels. You've got E, I, A, the J, the thing, the U, all those vowels are going to run together. And in reality, it's going to almost sound like some of those vowels are dropping, and they're not, but they're all going to run together. And that's why we'll do dictado. 31. Okay? 32. Let's look at another one. 42. 42. That A is going to be really kind of brief. 42. You're going to hear the E in there, but they're all going to run together. The only language that is probably sounds faster than Spanish is Japanese. They've done studies on that. Yeah. So 42 is going to sound like still it's very rolling into one. Bien? Okay. And you have to be prepared for that as the listener, because they're not automatically going to look at you and say, I am now going to talk this slow. Nobody's going to do that. If you say, repita por favor, of course they'll repeat it. Or, dígalo más despacio, say it slower. Then yes, of course, they will slow down for you. But they're going to go off at their usual pace. And to them, it's not going to feel fast, but to you, it's going to feel fast. So that's why we'll do a dictado. Bien? Bien? Okay.
Yeah.
Más preguntas, more questions on that or no?
No.
And I'm going to slur some together next week. Well, yeah, I'll kind of make it hard. Okay, bien. Una lección. We're going to have a little quick lesson. Ooh, because you're still going to be doing some descriptions. And I'll do a little, I'm going to give you the preview. You're going to see this page. This is kind of a complicated thing, but in reality, it is something that we use a lot. And it is the idea of comparisons. How to say something is bigger than, because sometimes when you describe something, oh, it's bigger than a bread box, right? We've got that phrase in English, it's bigger than a bread box. It's smaller than a house. Okay, so how do you say the smaller or the bigger? This is more expensive. This is cheaper. How do we say he's taller? He's shorter. She's faster. She's slower. How do we say all those ideas? Well, we use all those description words that you used, right? But we need little words to combine with them to give descriptions. And now we're going to be talking about comparisons of inequality, right? Because usually when we describe things, we'll say the bigger than a bread box, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to keep the description. The description is the description word, whatever it is, whether the description word is tall or short or big or slow or fast. That's where the description word is going to be. It's going to stay the same, but we're going to put in front of it a más. And after it, a que. Más grande que. Más alto que. Más rápido que. Okay, or bigger, faster, slower. Bien, más. You may also want to use the idea of not as fast as, right? So to give it the less idea, we use the word menos, which means less or minus. Menos with the description with que. But notice the kind of formulaic words are the menos and the que. Those don't change in form because they're not verbs. They're not masculine, feminine. So they're words we can just plug in and never have to worry about the form of the words. Más is always más. Que is always que. Your description goes in the middle. Menos is always menos. Que is always que. Your description is always in the middle. So we're going to look at some examples of these, and we'll do some practice of this too. And I'm going to send you this link so that you can actually, it's a little bit computerized, but you can turn on the audio button and hear them say it. Okay, so Sara es más artística que su hermano. I will say it slower than the automated people do. Sara es más artística que su hermano. Sara is more artistic than her brother. If she were less artistic than her brother, because her brother is really the talented one, it would be Sara es menos artística que su hermano. Bien? Okay. Marisa corre, runs. Oh, we can use it to describe actions too. Marisa corre más rápido que sus compañeros de equipo. Marisa runs faster than, más rápido que sus compañeros de equipo, her teammates, her companions of team. I know, that's what we can combine. Tengo menos libros que ella. I have fewer books than she does. Tengo menos libros que, and there we're putting in not a description, but a number of things. Because sometimes when we, it depends on what we're comparing. La pizza es más sabrosa que la calabaza. Pizza is more yummy than squash. Well, I guess that, yeah. Oh, so we also get the idea here when we compare things, it may be totally subjective or it may be factual. Doesn't matter, right? We're comparing things. So whether it's factual or subjective, it doesn't matter. See, if you think the opposite way, the not so tasty, right? La calabaza, squash, la calabaza es menos sabrosa que la pizza. Bien? Okay, so that is a shorty one. A shorty description. I want to point out though, 4 words that wind up being irregular, because in the video I'm going to send you to watch for the week to kind of get used to the pattern, and we'll practice these patterns next week. In the video, they're going to give you, why are there more than one? Oh, okay. Bien. And kind of a cautionary note on these. There are actually 4 irregulars. And why are they irregular? These words are going to be what we call irregular comparisons because they don't use the word mass. With all descriptions, mass is part of this pattern, but these words don't use the word mass. And they are the comparison words mejor, better. Okay, we don't say más bueno, more good. Más bueno que. We say mejor que. Mejor que. And this word is a great word for travelers to know because mejor is a word we use a lot. Mejor. Es mejor que. Ella es mejor que él. She is better than he is. Oh, esto es mejor que eso. This one is better than that one. All right. Mejor que, better than. Just like we don't say more good than or gooder than. Oh, it's gooder than that one. No, mejor que. It's an irregular. And the opposite, the word for worse, is peor. We have the term in English, a pejorative statement is something that digs. Yeah, it's a dig. It's a negative idea. That word pejorative comes from this same idea in the Latin, old Latin as peor. Peor que, we don't use the word más. Peor que, worse than. Mejor que, better than. Now, these 2 are a little bit of fuller. If we're talking, they're going to tell you even in the video that mayor may be used for larger, but think of mayor as age related because I'm more comfortable with that. And I'll show you why next week. Mayor que is used to say something is older than. Mayor que. Mi hijo es mayor que mi hija. My son is older than my daughter. Mi hijo es mayor que mi hija. So again, I don't have the más. That's why this is an irregular. So mayor means older in age for human beings. Not if you're talking about your car, not about things so much. Menor que, younger than. Mi hija es menor que mi hijo. My daughter is younger than my son. So when we talk about people being older or younger, like in your family, we use the words menor, younger, which looks like the word minor, under age. That helps you. And mayor, older. Okay. Now, notice that mayor is pretty similar to that word mejor. Shoot, they both start with an M, they both end with an R, but the things in the middle don't match up. So, mejor, better, mayor, older, for people. Bien?
Yeah.
Vale? And you'll get a video that'll talk about that whole thing, but we're just going to kind of play with that next week as kind of a formal lesson, because sometimes we compare things, or even when you describe your one thing, you may want to use the idea that it's smaller than, smaller than a bread box, that kind of idea. ¿Sí? ¿Está bien? Okay. Magnífico. Oh, son las 11:30. So 11:30, we're done.
Gracias.
Se acabó. De nada. Es un placer. Es un placer. You'll have a little new thing to work on. Do find a new item to bring again next week. And we'll practice a lot with these comparison items because we use that a lot too. Okay. ¿Está bien?
Okay.
And I'll
Muchas
open at
gracias.
9:30 again next week. So 9:30 till 10 will just be for people who feel like coming, and it'll be non-related to the lesson, but extra stuff, tidbits, burning questions that you have, the burning question of the week. Okay. ¿Está bien?
Adiós.
Mejor.
Gracias.
Excelente. De nada. Es un
Gracias.
placer. Es un placer. Que tengan buena semana. That you all have a good week.